You were never intended to plead with the universe. That's the misconception. It's the foundation of the disconnect, the disorder, the subtle despair you were trained to cloak as optimism. From the outset, you were molded to seek approval from systems, deities, and forces that you perceived as external to yourself. Yet the reality is different. You are not a supplicant. You are a creator, a weaver of realities, a master of energy. The universe isn't merely a wish-granting machine for the deserving. It's a responsive realm of limitless potential, constantly attuned to the energy of your words, thoughts, and overall state of being. It doesn't fulfill prayers. It reflects power, and right now, whether you recognize it or not, it's attuned to you. The sole distinction between those who bring their visions to life and those who do not lies in clarity, frequency, intention, and alignment, not belief, emotion, or chance. This isn't sorcery, it's a systematic process. The inquiry isn't whether the universe is attentive, it's about what you are genuinely communicating. They took this knowledge from you early on. From the moment you began to speak, they imposed constraints on what you could express, what was deemed appropriate, what was considered correct, and what posed a risk. As soon as you began to think independently, they inundated your mind with distractions, cartoons, lessons, regulations, and narratives, all conveying the same concealed message. Do not challenge. Do not question. Do not create on your own terms. Just conform. You were conditioned to ask, to hope, and to wait for answers that never materialized. Education didn't teach you how to think critically, it instructed compliance. You were rewarded for rehashing, penalized for inquiry. Your creativity was dismissed as a distraction. Your fantasies were seen as disorder. However, what they never revealed is that those daydreams were valuable practice. Early blueprints and initial awakenings of your inherent capability to shape reality through thought. They convinced you that divinity existed beyond yourself, and that creation was an act relegated to the past, reserved for others. And within the stillness that remains, they established frameworks, systems, and hierarchies. You were instructed on whom to trust, what to fear, how success appeared, and what constituted failure. None of these notions belonged to you, yet all of it shaped the foundation of your beliefs. Belief, after all, is paramount. If you perceive yourself as insignificant, your voice will echo that insignificance. If you see the universe as detached, you'll murmur when you ought to assert yourself. If you think you are unworthy, you'll obstruct every blessing that seeks to find you. The system isn't flawed. It was intentionally designed to silence the divine within you. You weren't merely taught how to exist, you were conditioned to forget that choice was ever an option. Consider this. You've likely spent a significant portion of your life anticipating a change, waiting for a signal, for the ideal mood, the perfect timing, or the right version of yourself to finally emerge. Yet waiting is the antithesis of speaking. It's silence masquerading as strategy. And silence is the foremost sign of surrender. Each time you hesitate, the field recognizes uncertainty. Anytime you postpone, the field senses confusion. Confusion breeds noise. Noise leads to contradiction, and contradiction results in stagnation. This explains why the universe seems to respond to certain individuals while overlooking others, not due to worthiness or luck, but due to clarity and command. The field reflects, it resonates, it heeds the most potent signal, and that signal invariably comes from those who remember. I am not here to request, I am here to articulate. Some truths are too profound for this platform. If you seek knowledge that cannot be articulated here, subscribe to Insights Academy, our complimentary newsletter where genuine wisdom resides. You'll additionally receive a digital edition of the Kabbalon, available only for a limited period. Links are provided in the description. They didn't merely obscure the truth, they buried it beneath guilt, shame, and ritual. They cloaked power in doctrine and warned you that it was perilous to engage with it. Yet it is not perilous, it is precise. It constitutes an energetic law. The same way gravity draws you toward the earth, your words draw reality into existence. And just like gravity, it doesn't concern itself with your beliefs. It reacts to action, not veneration, not rituals, nor rote recitations. It responds to the self who steps up as the source, instead of merely an extension of it. You aren't meant to exist passively. You're not meant to navigate life as if it were a maze built by another. You're not a servant of energy. You are the voice that directs it. The longer you remain small, the louder your existence will reflect that silence back to you. It's time to recall what has been obscured. The ancients didn't hope. They asserted. They didn't just visualize, they embodied their intentions. Their words weren't mere wishes, they were instruments, tools, codes, and frequencies aimed with precision into the boundless field. This is what you've overlooked. But forgetting doesn't equate to losing. If you've forgotten, it implies you have the capacity to remember. The universe isn't merely observing you, it's continuously and instantly responding to you, free from judgment. It doesn't await your finest day or your most ideal self. It reflects what you project in this present moment as you are. Not what you aspire to, not what you think you're worthy of, but what your energy and focus assert as real. You've been conditioned to seek external proof before you believe. Yet belief isn't a reaction to evidence, it's the very signal that generates it. What you focus on expands, not due to magic but due to mechanics, quantum mechanics. In quantum physics, the observer effect is not just a theory, it's a law. The act of observation collapses potential into reality. What was merely a possibility becomes tangible and defined the moment attention is focused. It doesn't require belief, it requires focus. Energy follows where attention is directed. The field doesn't distinguish between right and wrong or good and bad. It responds to clarity, intensity, and repetition. That's all there is to it, just as a remote control doesn't care what channel you select. It simply takes your input and mirrors it. This is how your consciousness influences reality. Many individuals go through life as if they have no control over circumstances. They utter things like, "I'll believe it when I see it." Yet quantum law suggests the contrary. You will see it because you held the belief. Every thought, every feeling, every expectation emits a signal into the field. Unfortunately, most people project signals filled with doubt, contradictions, and emotional noise, then question why their lives appear chaotic. The field, however, is exact. It reflects what you send out. That's the reason why those who seem irrationally certain often mold reality to align with their beliefs. It's not a matter of arrogance, it's about alignment. Their signal remains steadfast. They don't plead with the field, they program it. They express themselves in absolutes, not due to delusion, but because they grasp the principles at play. They aren't waiting to receive, they are choosing to create. And the field, acting like a flawless mirror, adjusts in kind. Everything you're witnessing in your life now is merely old data, previous signals made tangible. You aren't observing reality, you're viewing your past exertion. This indicates that your future has already begun to unfold, shaped by what you commit your attention to today. Most individuals never disrupt that cycle. They respond to the old and persistently recreate it with every thought, every complaint, every fear disguised as realism. Yet you don't have to remain trapped in that loop. You have the power to override it. Your mind is not merely a processor, it is a transmitter. Its purpose isn't to interpret reality but to project it. You are not just a passive witness, you are the broadcaster. The universe is your canvas. Whatever you position on the internal slide of your consciousness becomes manifest in form. This isn't mere philosophy, It's a law of physics. Energy seeks resonance. The field reacts to what you input. You have been utilizing your remote control on autopilot, but now it's time to break the cycle and realize that every recurring worry is simply a prayer for what you do not desire. Every concentrated fear is essentially a call for its own manifestation. When you consistently choose to believe that your desires are already on their way to you, you collapse timelines that allow for a quicker arrival. This isn't about deceiving yourself. It's about selecting the reality you choose to empower. The reality you are currently experiencing is not static. It's merely a reflection of the prevailing vibration you've most frequently expressed. Shift the input. Shift the pattern. Shift your life. You weren't meant to merely observe reality. You were meant to transform it. Once you stop reacting and start intentionally broadcasting your desires, the world adjusts in response, not out of kindness, but because that's simply how things work. It's time to transition from being a passive observer to actively wielding your power. They would have you believe that manifestation is a mystical phenomenon, some hidden spiritual idea, accessible only to the enlightened or those fortunate enough to possess the right energy. But manifestation isn't a mystery. It isn't a wish. It isn't about faith in miracles. It's rooted in an understanding of energy, clear, focused, directed energy. This is what distinguishes those who create their reality from those who perpetually seek permission to act. Manifestation is not driven by emotion. It stems from intention. And true intention isn't merely a transient thought wrapped in hope. It's a deliberate choice to deliver a specific command to the universe without any contradictions beneath it. You've accomplished this before, likely without realizing it. Think back to those moments when everything fell into place, when synchronicity happened, when events unfolded precisely as you envisioned. That wasn't just luck. That was clarity. That was a brief moment where you successfully emitted a signal strong enough to eclipse the surrounding noise. Most individuals falsely believe they are setting intentions, when really they are beseeching with confusion. They aspire for abundance while fixating on scarcity. They claim they want love, yet resonate with fear and abandonment. The spoken words may convey one message, while the underlying signal communicates something entirely different. The energetic field doesn't respond to mere words. It reacts to coherence. It acknowledges the emotions that underpin your thoughts and the frequencies accompanying your expressions. This is precisely why clarity carries more weight than positivity. You might generate all the constructive thoughts in the world, but if your energy is chaotic, fragmented, or uncertain, no progress will be made. The signal becomes distorted before it can ever achieve resonance. Ancient practitioners understood the importance of intention, which is why they placed so much emphasis on it. Hermetic teachings weren't established on blind faith. They were founded on meticulousness, mental rigor, and energetic integrity. The ancients recognized that the mind is the primary instrument of creation, and that intention is its most refined tool. When intention is fully embodied, it doesn't manifest as a mere desire. It expresses itself as a directive, a deep understanding, a firm, immovable decision that reality cannot overlook. It's not about being loud, it's about being steadfast. Intentional energy behaves like a tuning fork. The more precise the frequency, the quicker the field can align itself. Conversely, many individuals clutter the energy field with emotional distractions, doubts, anxieties, and hypothetical scenarios, and then wonder why their intentions fail to materialize. The universe is not rejecting your desires. It simply cannot interpret a jumbled signal. When your intention is pure, free of hesitation, and detached from time or specific outcomes, it transforms into a form of law, not as poetic symbolism, but in the literal energetic framework of the quantum field. This field is indifferent. It does not reward or punish based on morality. It organizes itself according to intention. You're either projecting a powerful signal or you're not. There's no middle ground. You've witnessed this in others, the ones who move with precision, articulating their thoughts clearly, embodying their truth, and behaving as if their desires are already realized. They aren't merely pretending to be confident, they are harmonizing their energy. Life bends in response because the field cannot disregard clean signals. It reacts more swiftly to clarity than to charm, and it responds faster to tranquility than to conflict. So take a moment to reflect. What is it that you truly desire? More crucially, can you maintain that intention without weakening it? Are you capable of keeping it distinct and untouched by the distractions surrounding you? If you can achieve this, everything starts to shift. Not because you've earned it or because you've been patient enough, but because energy follows structure. Intention serves as that structure. It acts as the blueprint that forms reality. You're not awaiting a miracle. You're actually waiting for yourself to cease transmitting interference. State your desire once, believe in it, behave as if it has already been fulfilled, and refrain from speaking against it afterward. That's the process of collapsing timelines. That's how you adjust outcomes. That's how you transition from being a mere observer to becoming the architect of your life. Your words transcend simple sounds. They aren't merely instruments for dialogue or social courtesy. They are incantations, algorithms, frequency signatures that leave their mark on the quantum field, whether you're conscious of it or not. Every phrase you utter is either fortifying your reality or undermining it. Every expression you repeat establishes a pattern the universe reflects back to you. Unfortunately, most individuals remain oblivious to the harm they inflict through careless words. Language was presented to you as if it carries no weight, merely a way to label things. Yet ancient wisdom illuminated a different truth. In Hermetic principles, the spoken word was the first act of creation. In sacred scriptures and mystical teachings, the word predated existence. In the beginning, there was the Word, and the Word held power. Why is that? Because sound is a vibration, and vibration has the power to influence matter. Your subconscious mind doesn't sift through language for meaning. It doesn't interpret sarcasm, hesitation, or insecurity disguised as humor. It takes your proclamations, especially those that are repeated, and categorizes them as reality. Statements like, "I'm always broke," "I struggle with relationships," or "this always happens to me," may feel like simple venting, but you are programming your reality. You're providing the field with explicit orders to replicate your experiences. The stronger the emotional impact of your words, the quicker they become entrenched. Once rooted, they operate on autopilot, subtly influencing your life while you might label it as mere misfortune. Language is not inert. It ignites neural pathways and channels energy into reality. This is the essence behind affirmations, mantras, and declarations. They're potent not due to any sorcery, but because they represent steady inputs into the system. You're either fostering positivity or perpetuating cycles. If you're unaware of your speech, there's a good chance you're mirroring another's conditioning. These could be phrases absorbed from your parents, educators, or cultural background, words that have been repeated so often that you've assimilated them without question. When you say, "I am," whatever follows serves as your directive to the universe. Statements like, "I am exhausted," "I am always behind," or "I am not sufficient," aren't mere expressions of frustration. They are declarations. The cosmos doesn't interpret them as grievances. Instead, it perceives them as commands to create. The phrase "I am" is sacred. It holds significance beyond casual conversation. It's the portal to manifestation. When you declare, "I am," you're not merely describing, you are issuing a command. The effectiveness of language lies not in its artistry, but in its clarity. When you communicate with ambiguity, the universe reacts with uncertainty. Conversely, when you express with intent, clarity, and alignment, the universe must respond. This is why some individuals only need to voice their desires once for them to begin manifesting. It's because their energy is in perfect harmony. Their statements resonate with conviction, supporting emotions, and actionable steps. Such powerful communication generates momentum and pierces through distractions. You don't need to be flawless. You need to focus your intent. Be mindful of the phrases you frequently use. Consider your words in moments of frustration, exhaustion, or self-doubt. That is the language that is shaping your reality. Revise it, modify it, change "I can't" to "I'm in the process of learning." Transform "I'm stuck" into "I'm realigning." Speak not only with hope, but with intention. Communicate as the architect of your reality, rather than the victim of your situation. It's important to note that it's not solely about your spoken words. Your internal dialogue carries even greater weight since it's unfiltered. The thoughts you share with yourself in solitude are your most genuine signals. That is where the true programming occurs. Cleanse it, redirect it. Seize control of the narrative within your mind and start expressing the version of yourself that you aspire to become, rather than the one you are eager to escape. The universe is attentive. Every word you utter is a directive. The critical inquiry is whether you are using your voice to shape your future or to relive your past. You may have encountered the saying before, align your frequency with what you desire, and you will attract it. It's repeatedly found on motivational posters, softly spoken in yoga sessions, and casually mentioned in conversations as if it were just a metaphor, but it's far from a mere figure of speech. It's a guiding principle, a concrete mechanism behind reality. Everything that exists, from the chair beneath you to the life you aim to create, possesses a frequency, a vibrational signature. You carry one too. The key question is, are you resonating with it or are you pushing it away? Vibration transcends mood. It's not merely about smiling more, thinking positive thoughts, or feigning well-being when you don't feel it. It runs deeper than that. It isn't surface level or false positivity. It's the emotional, mental, and energetic environment you navigate each day. It encompasses your habits, your responses, and your subconscious thoughts. It's the message your nervous system sends out when you aren't even trying. That's what the universe perceives. That's the signature it locks onto when your vibration conflicts with your desires. Nothing progresses. You can recite all the affirmations you desire, fill journals until your hand aches, script your ideal life every dawn, yet remain stagnant because your state doesn't align with your vision. You seek freedom, but your vibration resonates with fear. You yearn for abundance, yet you emanate scarcity. You seek love, yet your vibrations resonate with feelings of abandonment. The universe isn't casting you aside, it's tuned into you, consistently delivering what corresponds to your frequency. Picture it like adjusting a radio. If you're positioned at 91.2 FM, you won't catch the sounds coming from 103.7. It's not that those frequencies don't exist. Rather, you simply aren't connected to them. This is how many approach their ambitions. They linger on the incorrect frequency, hoping to receive communications that are out of reach. They assume that manifestation involves drawing something from outside themselves, instead of recognizing it as aligning to accept what is already available. The version of you that possesses what you desire is already there. This timeline is tangible. The sole barrier between you and that reality is alignment. Tesla stated, If you wish to grasp the universe's secrets, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. He didn't mention emotion. He didn't say effort. He spoke of frequency. It's the foundation upon which reality operates. Your body acts as a transmitter. The thoughts, emotions, and beliefs you hold create the code it projects. Alter that code, and your feedback changes. This isn't merely spiritual jargon. It's rooted in neuroscience. Your brain is a network of electrical signals. Your heart generates an electromagnetic field that extends several feet beyond your physical form. You're constantly transmitting messages into the cosmos. You simply weren't taught how to direct it, but you can learn. It begins with observing how you truly feel. Not in a fleeting, superficial sense, but in how you fundamentally exist. What state do you occupy when you're not consciously trying? That's your dominant frequency. And there's no need to feign high energy. You must shift your foundational state. When you transform your baseline, reality bends to align with it. It's not about how intense it is, it's about how consistent it remains. You don't need to shout your intentions. You simply have to embody the frequency that aligns with your aspirations. Begin to notice the disparity between who you claim to be and how you genuinely vibrate. If you sense resistance, that's your signal. Should there be feelings of anxiety, self-doubt, or hesitation, that's where the dissonance exists. And that isn't a failure, it's a compass, a guiding tool. The resistance you face isn't obstructing your path, it's directing you toward what needs to be released, rewritten, or adjusted. Embrace it, make necessary modifications, and then ground yourself in this new state. Because once your vibration becomes undeniable, the universe halts its uncertainty, reality stops its wavering. The people, opportunities, and moments begin to align themselves around the signal you emit. Not due to luck, but because you're in harmony, because you've ceased sending mixed signals and have started embodying the version of yourself that already possesses what you desire. The universe doesn't hand you what you think you deserve. It gives you what you're vibrationally aligned with. You don't receive what you want, you manifest what you are. So embody that frequency and witness how the outcomes reflect you. Wishing signifies a state of powerlessness. It may seem innocent, even humble and spiritual. I hope it works out. I hope the universe listens. I hope this time will be different. Yet beneath hope resides a subtle surrender, a belief that you lack control over what comes next. All you can do is wish fervently and hope something out there will choose you. That's not true manifestation. That's learned helplessness cloaked in spiritual language. You were never meant to hope. You were designed to declare. Hope conveys uncertainty, while command embodies identity. Hope hesitates. Command asserts itself. And here's the uncomfortable reality. Many individuals who believe they're manifesting are merely waiting politely for permission. They adorn their intentions with vision boards and uplifting quotes. However, beneath that facade, the energy remains fragile, dependent, and uncertain. The law of attraction, presented as mainstream spirituality, has been diluted to the point of ineffectiveness. It gained popularity not for its potency, but because it offers security. It demands nothing from you except belief and a smile. It transformed a revered practice into a catchy motto. It stripped away accountability and discipline. It suggested that simply thinking positively and behaving kindly would prompt the universe to reward them. Yet, the universe isn't akin to a vending machine. It acts as a mirror that reflects frequency rather than mere niceness. This is the reason individuals say, "I gave manifesting a shot and it didn't pan out." What they are actually implying is, "I requested, waited, wished, and neglected to alter my internal mindset." They fixated on outcomes rather than resonance. They presumed that manifestation was all about longing, when in fact it concerns dominion, achieving alignment so profound that reality has no choice but to transform. When you communicate with authority, the field acknowledges your presence. It doesn't react to desperation, it responds to unwavering certainty. Society has conditioned you into believing that certainty equates to arrogance, that expressing your desires with confidence is an illusion or a claim to entitlement. However, confidence is not arrogance, it is clarity, and clarity holds magnetic power. When you eliminate the fluctuations in your energy, when you cease hoping and start affirming, the entire energy of your life transitions. You shift from a position of requesting to directing, from anticipating to generating. To command does not imply demanding. You're not issuing orders to the cosmos. Instead, you embody the frequency of your desired outcome with such consistency that the external world must mirror it. You become steadfast, emotionally unreactive, energetically stable, like a tuning fork that never falters. You assert once, and then you conduct yourself as if it is already a reality. That is commanding. That is manifestation without turbulence. Observe those who intentionally sculpt their lives. They don't plead for transformation. They decide upon it. They don't repeatedly explain their aspirations. They embody them. They don't manifest out of sheer chance, but through universal laws. They've transcended superficial teachings, delving into the very foundation of reality. They express their desires, and things start to shift, not due to any inherent qualities, but because they have made the choice to take charge. And this is what it entails. It involves voicing your wishes unapologetically. It means declaring, "This is what I am manifesting," rather than simply hoping for it to come to be. It entails eliminating the emotional weight of the if and substituting it with when. It looks like embodying the persona that already possesses what it seeks, rather than waiting for it to arrive to validate your belief. You can write in a journal until your ink runs dry. You can visualize until your eyes tire, meditate for extensive periods. But if you continually revert to doubt, to feelings of inadequacy, to seeking permission, the universe will keep mirroring that sentiment. Manifestation isn't about being in the right emotional state. It occurs when your vibration sends out commands instead of questions, when your words serve as directives rather than pleas, when your energy conveys, "This is already mine," instead of, "I hope I deserve this." Hope may feel secure since it absolves you from responsibility. Yet that comfort can be a trap, stifling your potential and delaying your future. Move beyond hope. Enter the realm of command. Speak as a god would, not out of a need for validation from the universe, but because you recognize the truth. It has always responded to you. The universe doesn't turn off when you become silent. It doesn't pause when you're distracted or disengaged. The field is ever awake, always attentive, and doesn't overlook contradictions simply because you didn't mean them. It listens consistently, not to your polished affirmations or the declarations you hang on your wall, but to your predominant thoughts, your recurring narratives, and the energy you embody in solitude when no one else is present. Each thought is akin to a prayer. Every emotion serves as a command. Each belief shapes the reality that unfolds around you. Many people believe they manifest only when they set aside time for it, lighting candles, journaling, or vocalizing their ambitions. Yet, manifestation transcends ritual. It's a continual transmission. You're not activating it when you manifest, you're aligning with it. Creation is a constant process. Even when you feel you're merely responding, that cycle of self-doubt when you oversleep, the unease of unworthiness when your message goes unnoticed, or that subtle anxiety lurking beneath your task list, these are all signals. They all manifest into reality. The field isn't governed by morals, it's driven by mathematics. It doesn't highlight your most triumphant instances, it centers on your predominant frequency. Thus, a single clear and empowered moment won't suffice if it's enveloped by hours of anxiety, guilt, and self-condemnation. You may declare, "I am abundant," once in the morning, but if the remainder of your day is consumed with worrying about bills, rehashing scarcity, and dreading the future, what do you think the field is registering? This is a common misunderstanding. Many approach reality as if it were a mood ring, reflecting how they feel during isolated moments. However, reality mirrors patterns, not peaks. It reacts to the consistent cadence of your thoughts, not the bright spots of your aspirations. Therefore, your true task isn't about forcing positive thoughts, but rather eliminating the ones that consistently drain your energy. Perfection isn't a necessity, consistency is. To achieve consistency, awareness is crucial. Begin to recognize the cycles, the recurring mental narratives you follow when things go awry. Notice how you discuss your life when you feel defeated or exhausted. That is your prayer. That is the programming you're imprinting on the field. And the field doesn't make notes, it follows directives. While you might believe you're merely conveying your emotions, on an energetic level, you're permitting more of the same. That venting, that sarcasm, and the subtle cynicism you label realism, these are commands. They not only describe reality, they fortify it. The overlooked truth is this: as soon as you alter the narrative, the transmission shifts. It doesn't need to be perfect or require that you've healed every wound. As soon as you set a new foundation, the universe begins to reorganize itself. And it doesn't take a long time. It requires intention, mindfulness, and the dedication to cease advocating for your limitations. This is the essence of presence, not as a means of spiritual escape, but as a strategic transformation. By being present, you disrupt the automatic programming. You halt the ongoing signal in the background and consciously, clearly, and authoritatively introduce a new one. The moment you recognize yourself caught in a repetitive cycle and decide to make a different choice, you collapse an old timeline and create a new one. The more frequently you do this, the more potent your signal grows. A stronger signal leads to a quicker response. You aren't merely thinking, you're programming. You're not just feeling, you're radiating. The universe is indifferent to your awareness of this. It continues to respond regardless. Therefore, the crucial question shifts from whether it's working to what message am I truly conveying through my state? What is the prevailing command I have been projecting? Which vibration has I allowed to define my norm? This is where mastery begins. It's the realization that manifestation isn't merely something you do, it's continuously happening. The universe isn't ignoring you, it is simply adhering to your declarations. Your life isn't stagnant, it is faithfully mirroring the blueprint you have engaged with most consistently. Once you grasp this, you can cease waiting for signs and start embodying one. There comes a stage in your journey when mere remembrance is insufficient, when possessing knowledge of the truth doesn't equate to power until it is articulated, enacted, and internalized. You've witnessed how the universe operates. You've felt those moments of alignment, where the world shifts because of a decision, when what you believed was distant moves closer, as if it had been anticipating your signal all along. Now, it's time to embrace what many people spend their entire lives evading: accountability. Taking ownership of your part, not as a passive participant in reality, but as its creator. The moments you temper your command because deep down, there lingers a fear that it might not come to fruition. Release that. That fear is simply remnants, noise from a past version of yourself that lacked the understanding you possess now. The field tunes in more intently to the quiet conviction residing in your bones than to the decibel level of your utterances. So, communicate as if it's already accomplished. Behave as if it's already present. Align as if your life relies on it, because indeed it does. The path you enter next won't be determined by your exertion. It will hinge on your frequency, your expressions, and your capability to maintain the vibration of the Creator, not merely the creation. When you communicate like a divine being, the universe springs into action, not later, not eventually, but immediately. If you've journeyed this far, you're among us. Subscribe to Insights Academy, our complimentary newsletter teeming with insights we can't convey here, and receive the Sibelian as a free gift. Don't just observe this, embrace it. The field awaits direction, not from your feelings or uncertainties, but from your authority, your precision, and that part of you which doesn't just hope, but boldly declares. So, when you next converse, consider, am I communicating as the architect or merely the blueprint? And if it leans toward the latter, take a moment, realign, and then express once more. You don't need further evidence. You don't need another indication, another quote, or another coincidence to finally accept what your soul has been murmuring to you from the outset. You're not destined to recite the script. You are meant to compose it, and not with passivity or modesty, but with precision, presence, and authority. This is not about waiting for an ideal version of yourself to finally emerge. It's about embodying that identity here and now, in this moment, before the outcomes, before the validation, because that is what transforms everything. Many individuals approach manifestation as if it were a reaction, when, in truth, it is a frequency steeped in responsibility. When you articulate it, you begin to embody it. The times you hold back your authority because deep inside you're still worried it might not succeed, let that feeling go. That anxiety is just lingering energy, remnants from a past you that didn't possess the knowledge you have now. Remember, the field responds more intently to the quiet assurance in your being than to the loudness of your words. So communicate as if it's already accomplished. Move as though it's already present. Align yourself as if your life relies on it, because it does. The path you embark upon next won't depend on your effort alone. It will hinge on your vibration, your expression, your capacity to maintain the resonance of the Creator, not merely the creation. When you speak as a god, the universe acts without delay. It answers immediately, not later, not eventually. Now. And if you've stayed tuned until this point, welcome to the fold. Join Insights Academy, our complimentary newsletter filled with deeper wisdom we can't convey here, and receive the Sibelian as a bonus download. Don't just absorb this information, embody it. The field is poised for guidance. Not from your feelings, not from your uncertainties, but from your authority, your clarity, from that part of you that doesn't merely hope, but asserts. So the next time you express yourself, consider, am I speaking as the designer or merely the outline? If it isn't the former, take a moment to recalibrate, then communicate again. You don't require further evidence. You don't need another symbol, another quote, another coincidence to finally accept what your soul has been gently indicating since the start. You are not here to regurgitate the script. You are here to create it. Not with meekness or courtesy, but with precision, presence, and strength. This is not about awaiting a flawless version of yourself to manifest. It's about stepping into that identity right here and now, before the results, before the proof, because that is what transforms everything. Many people mistakenly approach manifestation as a response, when in fact, it's a frequency of accountability. When you articulate it, you begin to embody it, and as you inhale it, you start to embody it. It's not that life becomes uncomplicated. It's not that the universe shifts overnight, but rather that you cease to undermine yourself. You stop disrupting your signal with outdated narratives and begin to transmit from the aspect of yourself that already exists within the timeline you aim to attain. This is the essence of embodiment. It's not about feigning victory, it's about harmonizing your actions, thoughts, and overall state with the reality you've already embraced. You awaken and function as if you've already achieved it. You articulate your thoughts as if it's already complete. You allocate your energy as though your future is guaranteed, not uncertain. That's what initiates the transformation. The field doesn't require you to fake it. It needs you to be authentic. And authenticity isn't synonymous with perfection. It's about harmony. It's about living in your truth so profoundly that anything misaligned with it cannot thrive in your presence. Speak it, live it, be it. That's the key. Articulate your intentions clearly, without contradiction. Embody them in your everyday choices through discipline, decisions, and dedication, and become them. Ingrain them into your nervous system until they evolve from an effort into a sense of belonging. That's the moment when manifestation transitions from a mere idea to an unavoidable reality. Not due to some magical force, but because you finally cease emitting mixed messages. You don't need to exert more effort. You don't have to wait any longer. You must eliminate the static, discard the need for validation, and start living as if it's already yours. It's not solely about conversing with the universe. It's about expressing yourself as the universe. True manifestation doesn't stem from desperation. It feels like recollection. It's like returning to a power you never truly lost, but simply forgot how to wield. Each word you articulate, each thought you embrace, each reaction you express is either drawing you nearer to your blueprint or pushing you further away. And the instant you grow weary of the cycle, tired of waiting, tired of bargaining with your own uncertainties, you'll stop seeking and begin to embody. The field doesn't require further wishes. It necessitates clearer, more precise, unyielding signals. This is the ultimate breakthrough. You aren't here to pursue your desires. You're here to shrink the distance between who you have been and who you are evolving into. And that contraction starts with a singular decision: to communicate as the source rather than the seeker. The blueprint is already embedded within you. You're not constructing something novel. You are returning to what has always been encoded in your essence. Discard the fear, eliminate the delays, speak, live, be. If this video resonated with you, please share your thoughts in the comments. I understood it.